In section 74, I want to give my answer to the question, was Tennyson homosexual? It's my answer. Um, it doesn't have to be your answer. And I hope that whatever answer you come up with, that the discussion and the discussion about this issue doesn't overshadow the beauty, the power, the depth, the pathos of this wonderful poem. So, why bring it up now? In section 74, line 5, there is this line, "So, dearest, now thy brows are cold." So, Tennyson refers to Hallam as dearest. One of the early reviewers took issue with that, and here's his comment. This is from the Times, the November 28th, 1851 edition. They think this was written by Manley Hopkins. He says, "A second defect, which has painfully come out as often as we take up the volume, is the tone of, may we say so, amatory tenderness. Surely this is a strange manner of address to a man, even though he be dead." And then he quotes that stanza that I just read from in section 74. So one of Tennyson's early reviewers did comment on the nature of the intensity of feeling between Tennyson and Hallam, with at least some raised eyebrows. To me, it's significant that only one or a very small percentage of these early reviewers noticed that. And then, so that's why I'm bringing this up in section 74. Tennyson's response when he heard that. If anybody thinks I ever called him dearest in his life, they are much mistaken, for I never even called him dear. Tennyson pushes back on the idea that there was ever anything inappropriate between he and his friend Hallam. He says, "No, I didn't even call him dear." So given the chance to address the issue himself, Tennyson just said, "There's nothing here." It's also worth reminding ourselves that anytime we are learning about another culture, a foreign culture, whether that's a different place, whether that's foreign in space or foreign in time, whether we're going and learning about a culture from the past, we bring with us assumptions, expectations, biases that we probably aren't even aware of. And those aren't necessarily true. So the way we think about same gender intimacy and friendship is not necessarily the way they think about it in other parts of the world or in the past. To make that point more clearly, I want to read a few lines from a book called Marriage: A History. It's by Stephanie Kuntz, Coontz. She has a discussion about same-gender friendships in the Victorian age, and it bears on this topic here. It gives us context for understanding the poem as someone in that time would have understood it. This is my Kindle version, but I think in the paper version it would be page 184. Kuntz says, intense friendships with a person of the same sex were common and raised no eyebrows. People did not pick up the sexual connotations that often make even the most innocent expression of affection seem sexual to our sensibilities today. Skipping ahead a little bit. While they lasted, male friendships included much more physical contact and emotional intensity than most heterosexual men are comfortable with today. James Blake, for example, noted from time to time in his diary that he and his friend, while roommates, shared a bed. We retired early, he recorded one day in 1851, and in each other's arms did friendship sink peacefully to sleep. Skipping another little section here, Kuntz says, only at the end of the 19th century did physical expressions of affection between men begin to be interpreted as homosexual, and only in the early 1900s did ardent woman-to-woman bonds start to seem deviant. So, a small percentage of Tennyson's reviewers raised eyebrows at the intensity of his feelings for Hallam. Tennyson pushed back and said there was nothing inappropriate. And in the context of his time, this kind of intense male-male friendship was normal, good, healthy. So my answer to the question, was Tennyson homosexual, is no. There are people who have studied this much more intently than I have, who come to different conclusions. I've listened to speakers and read papers of people who say yes, he was homosexual. I listened to a lecture by a man who said that he thinks Tennyson probably was homosexual, but that Tennyson didn't know it. And I kind of wondered what that meant. And also very well-respected, well-regarded, well-studied individuals who say he most definitely was not homosexual. So you can study it out and make up your own mind. I hope whatever decision you come to, it doesn't get in the way of enjoying, appreciating, celebrating the really wonderful work that is this poem. So let's put that issue aside and get back to the beautiful poetry that Tennyson has given us. So in section 74, the picture that I get when I read section 74 is, have you ever traveled away from home and maybe you're in a large crowd like at an airport and you catch glimpses of faces that at first glance you think they're people you know, but it's ridiculous because you're far from home and you don't know anyone where you're at now. Have you ever had an experience like that? You're in a new place, a new setting, and your brain is looking for familiar things, and you just catch these little glimpses of a face that looks familiar, and then you look closer and you realize, oh no, it's not. Tennyson is having a similar experience. He's longing so much to see his friend's face, and he's thinking about his friend so much. He's seeing little bits of Hallam in the people around him. And he ends with this beautiful line, "Death has made his darkness beautiful with thee." Wherever you are right now, Hallam, it's more beautiful because you are there. Okay, section 74. As sometimes in a dead man's face, to those that watch it more and more, a likeness, hardly seen before, comes out to some one of his race. So, dearest, now thy brows are cold, I see thee, what thou art, and know thy likeness to the wise below, thy kindred with the great of old. But there is more than I can see, and what I see I leave unsaid, nor speak it, knowing death has made his darkness beautiful with thee.